Okay.
Thank you very much. It's 1:15. I'll call this meeting to order. Apologize for the late start. We've had some technical difficulties. The proceedings of this meeting will be recorded and made available on the internet. We can move on now to item 1.2 of our agenda, which is roll call. I would please ask our clerk, Jesse Clark, to call the roll.
Thank you. Mayor Lamstead, are you present?
I'm present.
Deputy Mayor Armstrong?
Present.
Councillor Franzen?
Present.
Councillor Braybrook?
Present.
Councillor Cadigan?
Present.
For staff, we have Donna Taggart, CIO Treasurer.
Present.
Steve Brockbank, Director of Emergency Services, is online, but we won't be able to hear him. Evan Grieger, Director of Public Works.
Present.
Barb Waldron, Director of Building and Planning.
Present.
Adele Arbor, Planner, is online, but again, we will be unable to hear her. Same with Bianca Dragicevic, Deputy Clerk, and Amber Novak, Legislative Coordinator, Executive Assistant to the CIO. And Sarah Dillamarter, Junior Planner.
Present.
And Jesse Clark, Director of Corporate Services Clerk, is present.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse. I just want to remind staff that we cannot hear you in the council chambers, so if you need to speak to an item, we'll have to make a physical appearance or we'll do something different. So just let us know. Thank you. Okay, we can move on to item 1.3 of our agenda, which is land acknowledgement and moment of reflection. We respectfully acknowledge that Trent Lakes and Peterborough County are located in the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the William Treaties First Nation, which include Alderville, Beausoleil, Curve Lake, Georgina Island, Hiawatha, Rama, and Scugog Island First Nation. Trent Lakes respectfully acknowledges that the Williams Treaty First Nations are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. We will now take a moment to reflect on these principles and our duties and responsibilities as members of council. Okay, thank you. We will move on now to item 1.4 of our agenda, which is employee service recognition. We would like to respectfully acknowledge these members of our staff that have 5 years of service. That's Bianca Dragicevic, Sean Moore, and Matt Perkins. And we can move on to the next item on this, which is 15 years of service, which is Brian O'Neill. Thank you to all. And we can move on to 20 years of service, which is Bill Both. Thank you, Bill. And we can move on now to Barry Hunt is retiring on December 31st of 2023. He has worked for the municipality of Trent Lakes and precursors for 41 years. Thank you very much, Barry, for a long career in Trent Lakes. Thank you to all. Okay, we can move on to item 2 of our agenda, which is the disclosure of pecuniary interest. If any members of council have a pecuniary interest in an item on the agenda, please disclose it now or anytime during the meeting prior to discussing anything on the item you have a pecuniary interest in. I see no hands. We can move on to item 3 of our agenda, which is the approval of the agenda as circulated. I see Councillor Braybrook for a mover, Councillor Franzen for a seconder. Any conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to item 4 of our agenda, which is the approval of adoption of minutes. We have 4.1, 4.2, 4.3 on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak about any of those 3 items, they can do so, or we can adopt them all with one motion. See Councillor Franzen.
Motion to approve 12 sets of minutes.
Okay. I see Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote.
Sorry, who was the seconder?
Who moved it?
Councillor Franzen.
Councillor Cadigan. Councillor Cadigan seconded that motion. Sorry, that's okay. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay. Now we can move on to item 5 of our agenda, which is committees and boards. We have the library board. You prepared to make a motion? Or see Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a mover and Councillor Franzen for a seconder. Any conversation about that? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to 5.2 of our agenda, which is liaison reports and for council boards and committees. Does anyone have any items for that? I'm seeing none. We can move on to item 6 of our agenda, which is our statutory public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act. I would need a motion to suspend our regular council meeting. I see Councillor Cadigan for a mover and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is carried. We have suspended our regular meeting and are moving into a public meeting. We can move on to item 6.1 of our agenda, which is zoning bylaw file number 2321. And Sarah De La Marca, our junior planner, can you please speak to this item?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. This is a public meeting under Section 34 of the Planning Act to consider file number 23-21 for CADOT for today's zoning bylaw amendment. If anybody present, either in the electronic or physical gallery, has not registered with the clerk or myself to speak, please either use the raise a hand feature if you're electronic, or raise your hand physically if you're in the physical gallery, and we will promote you in order to make an oral submission. Please note, if you do not make an oral or written submission prior to the public meeting or at the public meeting, that person may not be entitled to appeal the decision. This is a public meeting for file number 23-21 to consider a zoning bylaw amendment submitted by Agent Ralph Crandon on behalf of the property owner Mackenzie Forcado for the vacant lot located along Reed Street, just east of Kidmount. The zoning bylaw amendment application is the result of provisional consent granted through application numbers B-121-22 and B-122-22. The Municipality of Trent Lakes supported the proposed severance on the conditions that the applicant rezones both the severed and retained parcels. This rezoning application will rezone both severed lots from the rural zone to the rural residential zone, as they both contain a deficient lot area. The retained parcel is proposed to be partially rezoned to the environmental protection zone in order to preserve the natural heritage features confirmed to exist in the applicant's submitted environmental impact study. None of the lots contain any existing structures or buildings. The applicant submitted an environmental impact study in which contained mitigation recommendations, which have not yet been implemented through a development agreement, as the municipality did not receive the R plan in time before the public meeting. There is a planning report attached to today's agenda in support of the proposed rezoning application. The planning report identifies that the application is generally consistent with the provincial policy statement and growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and it also meets the intent of the official plan. The Municipality of Trent Lakes has received comments from Peterborough Public Health stating that they had no objections to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. No further comments have been received from any other circulated agencies or neighboring property owners concerning the proposal. Further, if any members of the public did not register with the clerk indicating their intent to make an oral submission, but would like to do so at this time, please use the raise a hand feature so we are able to promote you in order for you to make an oral submission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for introducing that file, Sarah. Is there anyone in the electronic or physical gallery that would like to speak to this file? I'm seeing no hands in the physical gallery. I'm not sure we have anyone in the electronic.
I'm seeing no hands in the electronic gallery.
Okay, thank you very much. Does any members of council have any questions or comments? I'm seeing, go ahead, Councillor Braybrook.
Just make a motion to receive and the council approve the zoning bylaw amendment as presented.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a seconder? Go ahead.
Oh, we have to come out of,
Can
yeah.
we just come out of it?
Yeah, I think you just received it. Can we receive it?
No, we'll
No?
just go back.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, we can hold that motion for one moment.
Certainly.
We are finished in the public meeting. We can have, I would entertain a motion to reconvene our regular meeting. Go ahead, Councillor Braybrook and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. Sorry, it was Councillor Franzen, my apologies. I'm looking at you and saying the wrong name.
yeah,
It's Christmas time.
you're allowed.
Okay, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are now back in our regular council meeting. So now we can go to item 7 of our agenda, which is business arising out of the statutory public meeting. Sarah De La Marca, would you like to speak to this item, our junior planner?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor. There is a public meeting held for file number 23-21. At this time, staff recommending that council receives the report from municipal planning staff and defers the passing of the bylaw for the January meeting or until such time that the agreements have been signed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sarah. Now, any other conversation, questions? I'm seeing none. Anyone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Braybrick,
Thank you. Make a motion to receive and also the council approve the zoning bylaw amendment as presented.
okay. I think we want a little more in there, I believe, just to make sure that we,
The council approve the zoning bylaw amendment.
Sorry, if I may, the appropriate documents weren't received in order to approve the zoning bylaw amendment. So I would suggest that we support the zoning bylaw amendment and defer approval of the bylaw until receipt of the appropriate documents.
We'll receive the council receive the report and subject support. Yes,
The
thank you.
zoning bylaw and defer approval.
Yes, thank you.
until we receive the appropriate document. Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Armstrong is a seconder. Any other conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much. We move on to item 8 of our agenda, which is presentations. We have none. Thank you very much, Sarah. And we can move on to item 9 of our agenda, which is delegations. We can go to 9.1. It's James Langer, extension of the demolition permit timeline. If you would like to come up to the table here and speak into the mic, you can do your delegation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to extend the demolition permit timeline because it has taken a long time. Through COVID was the start of it. When I got my application, I went to submit it and the doors were closed for over a year. As I went, and as I said in number 2, that I had no idea to just move one property marker 50 feet, that I'd have to go through a full severance. And I thought, I was told just to get one survey done. After I had that survey done, I was told to get a secondary survey on the other property. Then once that was done, after I was told I had to get all the buildings on both surveys done. So that's 3. So there was a lot of misinformation at that point, and of course, taking a lot of time. In number 3, there was a problem with the right-of-way, with waiting for the township lawyers to figure out what they were going to do with this right-of-way. And being frustrated, that's when I called Ann Hamilton, Peterborough County, who then called here to clarify that there was no problem with the right-of-way until I sold the property. That took a lot of time. So then moving the marker, I did not know that you had to have 1 acre to build on, or I would have moved the marker another 5 feet where both properties would have been 1 acre. It was only 0.03 of an acre, less than an acre. So then I had to get a rezoning bylaw amendment on both properties, which, as you know, takes time. So that was done. So I've been trying to get this building permit. I came into here on December 7th with a survey, the building that I want to build, the area, and it was shut down. So apparently 2, that I have, it's a point property, that I have 2 water frontages, which I did not know. There was 2 on 1 property. So the existing building, one was 20 meters. The other frontage is 27 meters. So I thought that we could have it within 20 meters, but apparently there's 2 waterfront properties. So that got kiboshed. Then I was told that, I was just told this morning, I need to get another survey with the building that I want to put on there. As long as I stayed the 20 meters from the one on the west side and the 27 from the south side, which I have arranged the building. again to fit on this property. And then at the meeting on the 7th, just before I was leaving, I was told that I had to get a not agricultural, archaeological survey, which I was not told like 2 years ago or whenever. I was just told on the 7th. So I have to go through another, the archaeological survey. I have to get another, I'm just losing my, rezoning.
Just take your time.
So I have to get it rezoned again, another survey, and the archaeological thing done before I can even submit to you guys a building permit. So this has taken, I started it over 4 years ago, thinking, I mean, a couple of years would be easy to get a building permit, but I've just started. Every time I come and do something once, it goes back. I'm 2 steps back every time. So that's why I'm just requesting a year, but I hope in a year that I'm still not here trying to get a building permit on this property. That's about it, unless you have any more questions.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Franzen.
Yeah, just a comment. I understand the frustration, and I believe that you should get a year extension.
Thank you very much.
Support a year extension.
Thank you. It has been very frustrating.
And I think we're talking more about development charges here
Yeah.
rather than extension of your demolition permit's been closed. It's just, my feeling is, and I should be last here, I shouldn't be, unless someone else has another comment. Go ahead, Councillor Brewer.
Thank you. Through your Mayor. When you embarked on this process initially, did you receive a checklist of like a conditions checklist?
Yes.
That may include, the environmental studies and what sort of steps you must take and that sort of thing? So
Yes, but nothing to do with rezoning, the zoning bylaw application. There is none of that. And when I was told I had to get it rezoned, that's all I was told. I have no idea about, obviously you guys go through this every time you have a meeting, rezoning bylaw application. When they're talking rezoning, in my thought, is agricultural, residential, commercial. So I had no idea what this rezoning was all about. But there was nothing about getting an archaeological test or the rezoning.
Any other questions? I mean, the development charges, I get confused as, because this is not a vacant piece of property. This is a property that still has a, I don't know, probably 525 square foot bunkie on the main floor, plus, I don't know, maybe 150 on the
Yeah,
second floor.
something around that, yeah.
So, it's got a 700 square foot building on it. So I don't feel it's vacant property. So it's already been a developed piece of property. I know the timelines have been ran through, but there's some very extenuating circumstances here, in my view. And so I would certainly support some sort of extension on that, because this is not a vacant piece of property. It hasn't been vacant for 5 years. It still has this existing structure. That's just my comment. Go ahead, Councillor Franzen.
I'd be willing to make a motion, and it's to extend the development charges, the Trent Lakes portion of it, till November of 2024.
Do I have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second that.
Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any other conversation? I'm seeing none. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay. Thank you very much for
Thank you
your
very much.
delegation, Mr. Langer.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
could we add a motion to that to request a report from staff
I think that's a
on
quite,
the timeline that this
Yeah.
application has gone through?
Yeah.
And perhaps any areas that we may
Sure.
have expedited.
Do I-
I'd accept an amendment to
Yeah,
the motion.
to add that to.
Oh, we
Well,
voted
that-
on
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
so I
we've
think
already
we'll make a
voted, so
separate.
that's a separate.
Yeah, so it would be a separate motion.
So,
I'll second that motion.
okay, I have a seconder of Councillor Franzen. Any other conversation? Seeing none, I will call for a vote. All in favor? That motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much. We can move on now to item 10 of our agenda, which is staff reports. We can move on to item 10.1, which is Public Works. Evan Greger, our Director of Public Works, would like to speak to this item.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lamstead, through you, Mayor, to members of council. Before you today is just an update on the project there on County Road 49, the new dedicated mechanics facility. Just to give you a little update, the project is moving along very well. The contractor is very pleased with the progress they've made with the actually fairly good weather we've had in the fall. They've actually made comments out there last week that they were doing some gravel adding and grading around the parking lot part, which they did not think they were going to get to until the spring of 24. But with the weather that we've been able to get, they've been able to move along very well. So as you can see in the pictures, there's a pictures of the footings being poured, as well as the foundation walls, and then some backfill happening. So things are progressing very well. We hope to see a building structure early in 2024, and everything's planned for completion in November of 2024. So we're looking very forward to having the new building. And like I said, everything so far is so good. So any questions here to answer?
Thank you very much, Evan Greger. Any questions for Evan? No, I'm quite happy to drive by there and see footings and things all in and backfilled. And looks nice. Nice to see some progress. Okay. I will entertain a motion for that.
The motion to receive the Director of Public Works report.
And Deputy Mayor Armstrong was a seconder.
Seconded?
Any other conversation? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much, Evan. We can move on to 10.2 of our agenda, which is recreation facilities, which we have none. So we can move on to 10.3, which is fire and emergency services. And Susan Jacket, our community emergency management coordinator, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Mayor Lamstead. Through you, Mayor Lamstead, before you is the Emergency Management Annual Program Review. As you can see, we have done some training in our annual review training for staff and an exercise. We also had a senior elected official workshop in 2023, and we did incident management system in a few of our new employees. Throughout this, our training and exercise, we reviewed our critical infrastructure and our HIRA, along with different roles and positions and the incident management system. On top of that, for public education, we joined as a county to do a 72-hour preparedness kit, radio campaign, and social media campaign to be ready for anything. We also utilized our public education program with fire to also promote emergency management and being prepared. We did receive our compliance on May 4th, 2023 for 2022, and we have submitted our 2023 compliance report to the ministry.
Okay, thank you very much, Susan. Any comments or questions for Susan? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you, Mayor Lamstead. Thanks, Susan. Same question as last year. I'm very happy to get the report and receive it, but I'd like to see some of the details behind it. So I'd either like for council to be given a copy of the emergency management program and or the compliance report. And I know some of it's confidential, so I appreciate that we can't see some of those things, but I'd like to see something behind this so that we know what we're receiving and approve. We're not approving it, but receiving.
Okay, yes, for sure. Through you, Mayor Lamstead. The compliance report that comes from the ministry, it's a public document, so I'm sure I can send that out to you. The emergency plan without the appendices is actually on our website, but I can help you with some of the other information that's needed, and or you can even stop by and we can present whatever you're looking for when required.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Braybrook next, and then Councillor.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor.
Sorry.
Covered.
Okay,
Through you.
okay, Councillor Cadigan, go ahead.
Mine's also attached, but my question through you, Mayor, is regarding critical infrastructure. Do you have a list that we could get of critical infrastructure, like primary concerns we have within our township.
Yes, for sure. I can review that with you. I will just have to check to see if I can send it out through electronic or whether it can be viewed internally. Because the document is not a public document as it entails information that,
Might be sensitive.
yes.
Makes sense. Okay. Any other comments or questions? I'm seeing none. Go ahead, Councillor Braber.
Make a motion to receive the Trent Lakes Emergency Management Program Review Report.
And Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder.
Second, it's an add-on subject to submission of critical materials to council.
Okay.
Critical supporting materials to council.
Are you okay with that amendment, Councillor Braber?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Any other conversation? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is carried. Thank you very much, Susan, for your report. Okay, we can move on to 10.4 of our agenda, which is building and planning. And 10.4.1 is Adele Arbor, our planner. Would you like to speak to this item?
Yes, thank you. And through you, Mayor Lambshead, this report is a follow-up to the public meeting held on December 5th, 2023, regarding two proposed Rogers wireless communication sites, C8576 and C8594, both proposed to be located along County Road 507. Attached to this report is a consultation summary provided by Rogers outlining the consultation process undertaken and responses to inquiries. Rogers has complied with all requirements of our municipal policy and are requesting a letter in support of their applications. Therefore, it's being recommended that council receive this report from the planner, and further that council direct staff to prepare a concurrence letter for the two proposed EORN cell gap sites along County Road 507. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if council has any.
Okay, thank you very much, Adele. Does anyone have any questions of Adele regarding this item? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Thank you very much. Not sure where this goes, Adele, but would like somehow to get in front of Rogers that they consider disguising these cell towers, as we talked about before, with something like trees, like they do in Muskoka. Obviously, it's not part of the concurrence letter, and it's maybe just an informal thing, but I just wanted to put that back on the table. I actually had a constituent raise that as well. So maybe it's just a whisper to Roger.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there is some verbiage in our policy that if the municipality requires such things, that we could request that. So I'd be happy to pass that message along.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, is anyone prepared to make a motion? Deputy Mayor Armstrong, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to receive the report and to direct staff to prepare a concurrence letter for the two proposed cell gap sites.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any other conversation? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to item 10.4.2 of our agenda. Barbara Waldron, our Director of Building and Planning and CBO, would you like to speak to this item, please?
Yes, good afternoon. Through you, Mayor Lambshead. It's a very short report with a very quick ask. Council did go through resolution 2023-257 and did allow for the requirement of the insurance for license of occupation to extend to December 31st. Due to the workload of building and planning departments, we have not been able to complete the information that we wanted to bring back to the meeting with the Second Bridge Group. So I'm requesting that we move the date to March 30th to extend the deadline for proof of insurance.
I think on our agenda, it says April 30th.
Was it April?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean,
Sorry,
just for
April 30th?
clarification.
I apologize.
It's okay. No. I just want to make sure I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
It's more common that I'm wrong. Okay. Go ahead, Councilor.
I'd like to make a motion to support the recommendations of staff.
And do I have a seconder for that motion? See Councillor Cadigan for a seconder, and any conversation? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Thank you very much, Barbara. Moving on to 10.5 of our agenda, which is finance, we have none. Administration, we have none. We can move on to 10.7 of our agenda, which is corporate services, 10.7.1. And Jesse Clark, our clerk, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lambshead. On the agenda was the council expenses for the month of November, and staff are just looking for approval.
Okay, thank you very much. Is anyone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Braver for a mover, and Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. Any conversation? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on now to item 11 of our agenda, which is correspondence for information. We have 11.1 and we have 11.2. We can receive them or do whatever we would like, one at a time or both together. Go ahead, Councillor Franzen.
Motion to receive both items of correspondence.
Okay, do I have a seconder?
Seconder of the
Deputy Mayor
comment.
Armstrong and a comment. Any
I
conversation?
just wanted to point out, it's a little difficult to read in the government format from Municipal Affairs and Housing, but Trent Lake's finances are in a superstar position. If you looked at where our financial position is relative to the averages across other like municipalities, we are just shining in terms of how healthy our finances are. And I just wanted to give a shout out to our treasurer for that, because I think she's done a fantastic job keeping us healthy with, appropriate cushions for the future. And just wanted to make that point.
Thank you very much. I concur. Okay, any other conversations? I will call for a vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to item 12 of our agenda, which is correspondence for action, which is the Municipality of Grey Highlands, the Ontario Energy Board's leave to construct process. Prepared to make a motion? Councillor Braber.
Thank you. Make a motion in support.
Anyone prepared to second that motion? See Councillor Franzen for a seconder. Any conversation? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, we can move on to item 13 of our agenda, which is bylaws on the agenda. And item 13.1 is our agenda memorandum. And Jesse Clark, would you like to speak to that item?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Lambshead, both of the bylaws on today's agenda did not have a corresponding public meeting or staff report. So bylaw B 2023-106 is a bylaw to stop up, close, and sell the original shore road allowances for Series 37. And B 2023-107 is a zoning bylaw amendment for 2217 Duarte, which a public meeting was held on October 17th, 2023, and approval was deferred pending receipt of a registered reference plan.
Okay, thank you very much, Jesse Clark. Clerk, oh, you're everything today. Everybody gets to go home. Jesse's gonna do it all. Okay, we can have a motion for either one or both of them, whichever council prefers. See Councillor Cadigan.
Motion to approve both.
Do I have a seconder for that motion? I see Councillor Franzen for a seconder. Any conversation? And seeing none, I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. Okay, now we can move on to item 14 of our agenda, which is business arising out of a previous meeting. Does anyone have any business arising out of a previous meeting? I'm seeing none. We can move on to any notices of motion. Seeing none. Item number 16 of our agenda, which is information items. Does anyone have any information? I see Councillor Franzen.
I have one. BCC presents Love Letters, and that's a play. It's a poignant, passionate, and witty play about bittersweet friendship for 50 years. And the tickets are $30, and there's a break for snacks, and tickets go on sale the 8th of January. And the dates are February 2nd and 9th, Saturday, February 3rd and 10th, and Sunday, February 4th and 11th. We do have it on our website. And so if anybody wants information, apparently it's a very good little play, and the people that wear the rehearsal do a cry. So it seems like something that particularly poignant for women.
Okay, I'm sensitive that way myself. Okay. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
I just wondered if the mayor was going to make any mention of the junior planner.
I don't know if we were. I think that's public knowledge now.
Yes.
Yeah, so Sarah Dillon Martyr, our junior planner, will be leaving for another position. So thank you very much for your service, Sarah. We really appreciate your expertise, and thank you very much for being part of Trent Lakes. We will miss you. Okay. We can move on now. I see no more items. We can move on to item 17 of our agenda, which is our closed meeting. So I would need a motion to go into closed. Deputy Mayor Armstrong and Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. We're going to 17.1, which is we're going into closed for the Ontario Municipal Act, Section 239.2, to discuss B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, municipal employees, and D, labor relations for employee negotiation, municipal employees. Okay. All in favor? That motion is carried. We are going into close. Thank you very much to the gallery. We are now moving on to 17.2 of our agenda, which is rise from close, and I would entertain a motion for same. See Councillor Cadigan for a mover and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are now back in our regular meeting, so we can move on to item 18 of our agenda, which is business arising from the closed meeting. And 18.1 is the adoption of the minutes of our last meeting. So prepared to make a motion. I see Councillor Braybrook for a mover and Councillor Cadigan for a seconder. I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We can move on to item 19 of our agenda, which is the adoption of the confirming bylaw, which is item 19.1. As amended. See Councillor Cadigan for a mover and Deputy Mayor Armstrong for a seconder. Any conversation? I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion is carried. We can move on to 19 of our agenda, which is the final agenda for 2023. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. See Councillor Cadigan for a mover, Councillor Braybrook for a seconder.
Just for one comment.
One comment, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor, I just want to wish everybody on council and everybody out in the municipality happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Likewise, I'm sure we all have the same sentiment. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and please be safe out there. And I will call for the vote. All in favor? That motion has carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, staff. Thank you, council. Thank you, everyone in the gallery.
Thank you.